Hey everyone, welcome back to Tech Podcasts by Dev Technosis. I'm your host Yash, and today we're diving into one of the most transformative innovations in healthcare, remote patient monitoring, or RPM. From chronic care management to post-surgery recovery, RPM apps are helping hospitals monitor patients in real time, beyond the hospital walls. But how do you actually build one of these apps? What should you include? And how do you make sure it's secure, scalable, and effective? To answer all of that, we've got Ethan joining us today. He's a British health tech consultant who's worked with DevTechnosis on several RPM solutions across the US and Europe. Ethan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Yash. Always great to be here. RPM is one of those game changers in healthcare that's here to stay, and building a custom app the right way can make all the difference.
So let's start at the beginning. Why are hospitals investing in custom RPM apps instead of going with off-the-shelf software?
Great question. Off-the-shelf solutions might get you started quickly, but they rarely align with a hospital's unique workflow or patient demographics. Each hospital has different protocols, devices, data storage needs, and patient interaction styles. A custom app lets them embed their exact features, whether it's monitoring glucose levels, oxygen saturation, heart rate, or post-discharge recovery, all while integrating with existing hospital systems like EMRs and HL7-based records.
That makes sense. So when a hospital approaches DevTechnosis or a development team, what's the first step?
Discovery, always. We start with a requirement gathering session to understand what kinds of patients are being monitored, what health parameters are being tracked, what devices will patients use at home, what should the alert system look like, and crucially, who needs access, doctors, nurses, families? Once we have that picture, we define user flows and build a feature roadmap. We also look at integration requirements. For example, if they need the app to sync with Apple Health, Fitbit, or Bluetooth BP monitors.
Got it. Now, walk us through the core features that every RPM app should ideally have.
Sure, let me break it down. Patient dashboard displays vitals in real time or on schedule. For example, blood pressure, glucose, pulse, etc. Device integration, ability to connect to wearables, smart monitors, or even manual entry with image uploads. Doctor-nurse portal, for care teams to review incoming data, flag anomalies, chat with patients, and track trends. Alert system, custom alerts for values crossing thresholds, e.g. heart rate above 120 BPM. Secure video/chat for virtual consultations, especially when follow-ups are needed. Reports and analytics, graphs, progress reports, daily logs, and downloadable PDFs for sharing or review. EHR/EMR integration, syncing all data with the hospital's internal systems securely. Reminders and notifications, medication alerts, test schedules, or prompts for daily health check-ins. Multi-user support, so family members or caregivers can also track the patient's health with permission. Offline support, sync later if there's no internet, crucial for rural patients.
That's quite a lineup. And what about security? We're talking about extremely sensitive patient data.
Spot on. Security is non-negotiable. The app must be fully HIPAA compliant in the US or GDPR compliant in Europe. That means end-to-end encryption of data in transit and at rest. Secure user authentication, MFA, is ideal. Role-based access control audit trails to log who accessed what data and when. Regular security audits and penetration testing. At DevTechnosis, we embed these into the development process right from Sprint 1, not as an afterthought.
Now here's a question clients often ask. How long does it take to build a custom RPM app?
Realistically, 4 to 6 months for an MVP, depending on complexity. A full-featured, production-ready app with integrations, testing, and deployment may take 6 to 9 months. But we always recommend going agile. Start with core monitoring features, roll them out to a test group of patients, gather feedback, and expand from there. That's the most efficient path.
That's helpful. Now, let's talk technology stack. What tech do you usually go for?
For mobile, we use Flutter or React, native for cross-platform development, Firebase for real-time database and notifications, AWS or Azure for scalable cloud storage, Twilio for in-app calls or messaging, FHIR, HL7 APIs for EHR integration. And of course, for Bluetooth or device syncing, we integrate native SDKs of wearables or health IoT devices.
Love it. Very modern and scalable. Now, what about the user experience? Elderly patients and chronic care users are often less tech-savvy.
Absolutely. UX design must be super intuitive. Large fonts, simple navigation, voice feedback where possible, and minimalist layouts. We also include tutorial videos, guided onboarding, and even one-touch SOS buttons for emergency calls. The trick is, build the app around the patient, not the tech.
So true. Now, Ethan, tell us a bit about how hospitals are benefiting from these apps. Any examples?
Sure. In one case, a mid-sized hospital used a custom RPM app to monitor discharged COVID patients. They saw a 30% drop in readmissions just by spotting early symptoms through remote vitals. Another client used it for diabetes management and reduced nurse phone time by 40% thanks to automated data logging. Beyond cost savings, it builds trust with patients. They feel cared for, even at home.
Incredible impact. Before we wrap, what are the top 3 tips you'd give any hospital looking to build an RPM app?
Great question. Here's what I'd say. Start with specific use cases. Don't try to build for every scenario at once. Begin with cardiac monitoring, post-op recovery, or diabetes, then expand. Invest in UX and accessibility. Your app is only as good as the user's comfort level. If they don't use it, it's useless. Think long-term, build for integration and scale. Make sure your backend and APIs can grow as your needs evolve.
Fantastic advice. Ethan, thank you so much for joining us. That was incredibly informative, and I'm sure our listeners, especially those in the health sector, got a lot out of this.
Thanks, Yash. Always a pleasure to share. And if anyone out there is thinking of building an RPM app, I highly recommend reaching out to DevTechnosis. They've got the tech, the compliance understanding, and the design mindset to do it right.
You heard it. Visit devtechnosis.com to explore our custom healthcare solutions or connect with our experts to start planning your remote patient monitoring app. Thanks again for tuning into Tech Podcasts, DevTechnosis. I'm Yash, and until next time, stay connected, stay secure, and always build with purpose.